Have you ever lost your temper over something small, only to regret it later and wonder, why did I let that get to me? Or found yourself spiraling in chaos, even though deep down, you knew staying calm would have served you better? Here's the truth. Most people are ruled by their emotions like leaves tossed in a storm. But the Stoics believed something radical, that peace isn't something you stumble into. It's a skill, a discipline, a choice. In this video, we're going to show you how to train your mind to stay calm, even when life is anything but. We'll walk you through powerful practical tools, from ancient Stoic techniques to modern-day mental rewiring, that you can start using immediately. You'll learn how to pause, reframe chaos, and activate what the Stoics called the ruling reason, the part of you that doesn't flinch when the world shakes. And by the end, you won't just understand calm, you'll embody it. So if you've ever been the person who explodes, panics, or drowns in noise, this isn't just a video. It's your starting point. Hit subscribe, because this is where your real power begins. Number 1. Taking control. If you want to be calm in chaos, you must first reclaim the throne of your own mind. The Stoics taught that the most important battlefield is not the world around you. It's the space between your ears. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That line isn't poetic. It's a challenge. A dare to stop outsourcing your emotions to circumstances, people, or outcomes. Because until you take responsibility for your own reactions, you will always be someone else's puppet. Let's be brutally honest. Most people are controlled by reflex, not reason. They explode at a disrespectful comment, spiral after a bad day, or shut down when life doesn't go their way. But the Stoics believed that the highest power a person could attain was autarkia, self-rule, the ability to govern one's thoughts like a disciplined general commands his troops. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens through training. It happens through conscious interruption of your automatic reactions. Start with the 3-second pause. It sounds simple, but in those 3 seconds, right after someone insults you, cuts you off, or life delivers a blow, you have a choice. React blindly or respond deliberately. That pause creates distance between stimulus and response, emotion and action. It activates the rational brain. It reclaims control. It says, "I see what's happening, but I choose how I show up." Seneca said it best. No man is free who is not master of himself. And mastery begins with those few seconds of clarity. Next, consider the stories you tell yourself. Our minds are meaning-making machines. The way you frame an event determines how it affects you. "She betrayed me" becomes "I now see her clearly." "This is the worst thing that's ever happened" becomes "This is the moment I will grow from." The Stoics called this prohairesis, the faculty of choice. You can't always choose what happens, but you can always choose how you interpret it. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's not just philosophy, that's power. Now shift into observer mode, one of the most effective mental strategies for detaching from chaos. Picture yourself as an eagle, soaring above your own life, watching with clarity and distance. When your mind races or emotions surge, say to yourself, "Interesting. My body is reacting, my mind is running, but I'm watching it all." This perspective breaks the spell of emotion. You stop identifying with the storm and instead become the one who notices the clouds. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. Stoicism is not about emotional numbness. It's about emotional awareness without enslavement. You still feel, but you don't drown. You remain the captain even when the sea is rough. That is what it means to take control. So the next time Someone tests your patience when life throws you into uncertainty, when your instinct is to snap, spiral, or shut down. Remember, calm begins with a choice, a breath, a story you decide to rewrite. In that moment, you are either the servant of your impulses or the sovereign of your mind. And that decision will define everything that follows. Number 2, anger management. Anger is seductive. It feels righteous, powerful, clarifying. But more often than not, it is a liar and a thief. It lies by convincing you that lashing out will restore justice. It steals by robbing you of your peace, your dignity, and your clarity. The Stoics didn't deny the existence of anger. They simply refused to be enslaved by it. Seneca, who wrote an entire treatise on anger, warned us, "No plague has cost the human race more." And when you look around at broken relationships, ruined reputations, and lives derailed in a single emotional outburst, it's hard to disagree. The Stoics understood that anger is not a sign of strength but of lost control. It arises when our expectations clash with reality, when we demand fairness from a world that never promised it. Epictetus observed that if someone acts unjustly, it's because they are mistaken about what is good. Why then should you become just as blind in your response? The first practical tool here is what neuroscientists now call the 90-second rule, a principle that aligns perfectly with Stoic thinking. When you're triggered, your body floods with chemicals that spike your emotional reaction. But here's the catch. If you simply wait just 90 seconds without feeding the fire, the surge will pass. You don't have to act. You don't have to speak. Just wait. Let it pass. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? Most of our regret comes not from the event, but from how we reacted to it." The 90-second pause could save you years of damage. Another Stoic approach is changing your physical state. When rage starts building, don't sit and stew in it. Move, walk, stretch, breathe, change your posture. Anger locks the body into a combative state, tense, rigid, aggressive. But if you change your body, you change your mind. This wasn't abstract theory for the Stoics. They believed the body and soul were intertwined, and managing one helped govern the other. And then there's perspective. The Stoic's ultimate weapon. Ask yourself, will this matter in a day, a week, a year? Most of the things we rage over fade like smoke. Someone cuts in front of you, says something petty, forgets to acknowledge your efforts. Yes, it stings. But what do you gain by clinging to that pain? The Stoics believe that to rise above such things is not weakness. It is nobility. A man who has given way to anger, Seneca said, is no longer in possession of himself. If someone else can steal your peace with a single word or glance, are you truly free? Anger is natural, but staying angry is a choice. The Stoic doesn't suppress it. They see it clearly, question it deeply, and let it pass like a storm that doesn't deserve to stay. In doing so, they reclaim something far more valuable than vengeance or vindication. They reclaim their inner empire. And that, the Stoics knew, is the only victory that truly matters. Number 3, calm as a strength. In today's world, calm is often mistaken for weakness. People assume if you're not shouting, you're losing. If you're not reacting, you're afraid. But the Stoics knew the truth. Calm is not the absence of feeling, it's the presence of power. It's the ability to endure insult without injury, to stay unmoved when the world tries to shake you. Calm is not a lack of fire, it's fire under control. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most powerful man of his time, ruled over a chaotic empire facing war, plague, and betrayal. and yet his personal writings reflect a deep stillness. He didn't see calm as passive, but as purposeful. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Calm, then, is an inward choice, not something gifted by circumstances, but created in spite of them. To cultivate this kind of calm, the first tool is the strategic pause. This is more than just stopping. It's choosing how to respond, not just whether to. Before you speak, before you act, you pause. Not because you're uncertain, but because you are certain that composure is your strength. This pause becomes your signature. It disarms others, signals control, and creates space for clarity to emerge. Then, practice the rhythm of your voice. A calm person doesn't rush their words. They speak slowly, with intention. Even in high-pressure situations, they hold their tone steady, not to impress others, but to regulate themselves. Seneca taught that the wise man is neither uplifted by success nor cast down by failure. That steadiness begins in speech. In choosing to sound like someone who cannot be shaken, you start to become that person. And perhaps most powerful of all, the Stoic gaze. It's not about staring down others. It's about softening your eyes, relaxing your face, embodying presence. The Stoics trained themselves to face adversity with dignity, not drama. When you maintain that grounded presence, you signal something wordless but unmistakable. I am not controlled by you. I am not threatened by this. I am rooted. This gaze doesn't intimidate, it commands respect without asking for it. In a reactive world, calm is rebellion. It's not what most people expect, and that's why it works. When you stay calm in chaos, you become a lighthouse in the storm. A presence people are drawn to, not because you force them to, but because you radiate what they're missing. In that sense, calm becomes a kind of quiet charisma, a power that doesn't shout, but cannot be ignored. The Stoics didn't just preach calm, they embodied it. And so can you. Not by pretending nothing affects you, but by mastering the only thing that ever truly matters: how you choose to show up no matter what the world throws your way. Number 4. Acceptance of unfairness. One of the most difficult truths to digest is this: life is not fair, and it never promised to be. People will lie to you. Good efforts will go unnoticed. Wrongdoers will get ahead. And if you expect the universe to hand out justice on your timeline, you will be in a constant state of resentment and pain. The Stoics were brutally honest about this reality. They didn't sugarcoat life's harshness. They embraced it. And in that acceptance, they found peace. Epictetus put it clearly: when something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it. You can either accept it or resent it. But resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the world gets sick. It corrodes your spirit. It tightens your grip on things you were never meant to control. And it gives power to every injustice by letting it live rent-free in your mind. Instead, the Stoic trains himself in the art of radical acceptance. This doesn't mean passive surrender or indifference. It means recognizing that your power begins after the unfairness, not in changing the past, but in shaping your response to it. Life is filled with broken systems, selfish people, and chaotic events. You can either exhaust yourself trying to bend the world into fairness, or you can grow stronger by standing firm inside it. One practice that sharpens this mindset is the acceptance challenge. Each day, intentionally notice something unfair: someone being rude, a mistake you didn't deserve, an opportunity missed. Then ask, can I accept this without losing my peace? You're not condoning it. You're mastering your reaction to it. This simple shift rewires your brain from victimhood to sovereignty. You stop asking why me and start asking what now. Another Stoic tool is the belief in something greater than the self, whether that's fate, nature, God, or the logos, the rational order of the universe. The Stoics weren't nihilists. They believed that there is wisdom woven into the fabric of existence, even if we can't always see it. When things fall apart, instead of collapsing into bitterness, you step back and say, I may not understand the reason, but I trust that I can use this to grow. That belief turns misfortune into fuel. It gives meaning to suffering and direction to pain. Marcus Aurelius reflected deeply on this in his Meditations, writing, just as nature takes every obstacle, every impediment, and works around it, turning it to its purposes, so too can you. The unfairness itself becomes the training ground. The insult becomes a test of restraint. The failure becomes a lesson in humility. The betrayal becomes a moment to reaffirm your values. Accepting unfairness doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous, in the best way. Because once the world can no longer manipulate you with injustice, once you stop demanding fairness and start creating strength, you become immovable, calm in the chaos, clear in confusion, unshaken by what breaks others. That's the Stoic path. Not a life free from injustice, but a mind free from its grip. Number 5, choosing control. When you lose your temper, when you lash out, when you spiral into despair or panic, it may feel like something is happening to you. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Nothing truly takes your peace. You give it away. Every loss of control is, in fact, a choice. Often unconscious, but a choice nonetheless. The key is not to eliminate emotion, but to become so self-aware that you never give away your sovereignty without noticing. As Marcus Aurelius put it, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. We live in a world full of emotional traps. Social media arguments, manipulative people, petty insults, unfair circumstances. But what if you stopped handing out access to your inner state like candy? What if your peace became non-negotiable? That's where the power of choice enters. And the Stoics made it their first commandment. Control what you can, accept what you can't, and never confuse the two. One powerful technique is to activate what we can call emotional airplane mode. Just like your phone disconnects from external signals during a flight, you can consciously disconnect your emotions from external noise during moments of tension. When someone tries to provoke you, when life throws you a curveball, pause and imagine yourself flipping that inner switch, airplane mode on. No incoming disturbance can shake your clarity unless you re-engage. You're still aware, but you're no longer reactive. This inner detachment isn't coldness. It's strategic preservation of your mental energy. Another method is asking yourself a simple but cutting question in moments of emotional temptation. Is this person or situation worth giving my power to? If someone gossips about you, do they deserve control over your inner world? If someone cuts you off in traffic, are they worth your elevated heart rate? Epictetus taught us, if you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. In other words, if you let someone else define your emotional state, you've already lost. This doesn't mean you suppress emotion. It means you channel it. You redirect it. You take responsibility for it. You become the guardian of your own inner climate. Imagine if a general let every enemy dictate his next move. He'd lose the war before the first shot. You are the general of your mind. Do not surrender command. The modern world often equates control with dominance, controlling others, controlling outcomes. But Stoic control is more sacred. It's the refusal to be swayed by what lies outside your domain. It's the discipline to remain rooted in your own values, even when chaos rages around you. And that level of control is magnetic. People can feel it. They respect it. They may even fear it, because it's rare. So the next time you feel yourself slipping into anger, anxiety, or overthinking, remember, you're not powerless. You're at a fork in the road. You can give in to the noise, or you can choose control. And every time you choose it, you rewire your identity. You become the kind of person who doesn't just survive storms. You command yourself through them. That is the Stoic way. That is your path to unshakable peace. Number 6, connecting with the body. Stoicism is often seen as a purely mental discipline, a practice of thought, logic, and self-reflection. But the ancient Stoics understood something modern neuroscience now confirms. The body and the mind are inseparable. You cannot calm your thoughts while ignoring the vessel that carries them. Your body is not just a passive container. It is a tool, a signal, and sometimes the cure. Seneca wrote, "We treat the body rigorously so that it may not be disobedient to the mind." What he meant is this: if your body is tense, agitated, or neglected, your thoughts will follow that same chaos. But if you engage your body with intention, you can pull yourself out of mental storms faster than thought alone can manage. You don't think your way out of anxiety. You move your way out of it. The body leads and the mind catches up. One of the simplest practices is the mindful walk. When your thoughts are racing or anger is building, walk, but not just aimlessly. Feel each step. Hear your breath. Notice your surroundings. This brings you back into the present moment, and it signals safety to your nervous system. The Stoics walked regularly, often composing their thoughts through movement. Walking isn't just exercise, it's medicine. Another tool is shaking off stress, literally. Animals in the wild do this instinctively. After a chase, they shake their bodies to release tension. Humans, however, store stress physically, in our shoulders, necks, stomachs. Stoicism teaches self-awareness, and that includes body awareness. When you're overwhelmed, stand up, stretch, move your arms, shake your hands. You're reminding your system, I am not frozen, I am not helpless. I am in motion, therefore I am alive and in control. You can also use tension release rituals, such as deep stretching or physical grounding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." But sometimes, the doorway to that inner soul is locked by muscle tension and shallow breathing. Physical acts, touching a cold surface, stretching your hands wide, lying flat on the ground, can reset your nervous system in seconds. The Stoics weren't monks in isolation. They were warriors, emperors, philosophers who used their bodies, respected their limits, and stayed attuned to the signals within. In a world where we're glued to screens, disconnected from the earth, and mentally overloaded, this kind of body reconnection is not optional. It's essential. If your mind feels like a battlefield, start with your body. Anchor yourself in breath. Walk until your thoughts align. Move until the fog lifts. The Stoics knew, peace isn't only an idea, it's an experience. And often it begins by stepping out of your head and back into the living reality of your body. When you honor that connection, you don't just think clearer, you become clearer, grounded, present, calm. Number 7, calm as an option. Most people see calm as something you either have or don't have, like a mood that comes and goes, a lucky state that depends on how smooth your day is going. But the Stoics challenged this illusion. To them, calm was never circumstantial. It was a decision, a cultivated posture of mind, something you chose the same way you choose your words or your direction on a map. Marcus Aurelius didn't say, "Hope for peace." He wrote, "You can begin to be calm any moment you choose." That's the radical Stoic message. You can choose. Calm even when you're not okay, even when you're hurting, even when someone disrespects you, when plans collapse, when nothing is going as it should. You still have access to the choice. But that choice needs to be prepared in advance. Because when emotions surge and the world starts spinning, it's too late to improvise. You need a plan. That's where the concept of an emotional plan B comes in. When something goes wrong, what is your default calm protocol? What action or thought do you shift to immediately, not if but when, your emotions flare up? It might be a phrase you repeat, "I remain unmoved." It might be a grounding habit, pressing your feet into the floor, doing a breathing cycle, stepping out into fresh air. It could even be visualizing your Stoic role model watching you in that moment. The key is having it ready before the fire starts. You can also create what's known as a calm zone in your life, a space, physical or mental, that becomes your training ground. This could be a room, a chair, a ritual space where you go to reset, or it could be a mental sanctuary, a visualization of a place that embodies clarity, like a quiet temple, a mountaintop, or a still body of water. The more you visit this space in practice, the easier it is to access under pressure. Calm becomes a muscle, not a mystery. And when people say, "I couldn't help it, I lost it," the Stoic asks, did you prepare yourself to help it? Did you train? Did you reflect daily on your triggers, rehearse your responses, and cultivate an inner space wide enough to absorb discomfort without retaliation? If not, losing control wasn't an accident. It was simply the natural result of no preparation. 2. The Stoic calm isn't passive. It's active discipline. It's choosing to disengage from emotional bait. It's choosing to breathe instead of burst. It's choosing the long-term view instead of short-term satisfaction. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Delay what? The impulse to react, the urge to escalate, the craving to be right at the cost of being free. When you internalize this idea, calm is always an option. You no longer wait for perfect conditions. You stop outsourcing your peace to the world's behavior. You reclaim your dignity in the face of disrespect. You start responding to life not with panic, but with presence. And in a loud, chaotic, reactive world, nothing is more powerful than a person who chooses calm, not because they have to, but because they can. Number 8, defining yourself by actions. There's one question every Stoic returns to again and again. Who do you choose to be, regardless of what happens to you? Because in the end, you are not defined by what the world does to you. You are defined by how you respond. That response, your action, your behavior, your conduct, is your true identity. Everything else is noise. This is why the Stoics placed so much emphasis on character. Marcus Aurelius didn't obsess over his power as emperor. He obsessed over whether he was living up to his principles. He reminded himself, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." To the Stoic, your values aren't abstract. They're tested every single day in the face of difficulty, injustice, and provocation. And how you act, especially when it's hard, is the only thing that reveals who you truly are. Think about how easy it is to get caught up in image, emotion, or victimhood. We say things like, "They made me feel this way," or "This situation ruined me." But that's not Stoic. That's surrender. Epictetus made it clear. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Which means if someone disrespects you, and you respond with silence and dignity, you've won. If life disappoints you, and you pivot, adapt, and keep moving, you've grown. Your calm is your signature, your resilience is your resume. This mindset doesn't just protect you from falling apart, it gives you purpose. Every time you feel the urge to explode, shut down, or lash out, you have an opportunity to practice who you are. You get to say, "This is my standard. This is who I am," even under pressure. You stop letting others write your story. You start authoring it yourself, one disciplined action at a time. A practical way to train this is through the daily review, a method the Stoics use to reinforce self-awareness and moral clarity. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I live by my I principles? Did I respond as the person I want to become? Where did I fall short, and how will I adjust tomorrow? You're not aiming for perfection. You're aiming for integrity. And integrity, when lived consistently, creates calm, not just as a reaction, but as a way of life. Another strategy is to reframe difficulty as opportunity. The Stoics saw obstacles, not as disruptions, but as material for growth. Marcus Aurelius called this turning the obstacle into the path. So instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "How can this refine me?" Suddenly, every challenge becomes draining, every insult becomes a test, every hardship becomes a mirror, reflecting the strength or weakness of your philosophy. You are what you do, not what you feel, not what you say you'll do, and certainly not what happens to you. The Stoics knew this, lived this, and became unshakable because of it. So when life throws its worst at you, don't flinch, don't explain. Just act, calmly, clearly, and in alignment with who you've chosen to be. Because when you define yourself by action, no one else gets to define you at all. Number 9. Breathing techniques. In every Stoic text, one virtue runs silently beneath the surface. Presence. The ability to be here, now, not dragged by memories, not panicked by predictions, but rooted in the immediate reality, unclouded and unshaken. And one of the fastest, most powerful ways to access that presence is through something so basic we often forget its power: the breath. Modern science tells us that controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural calm-down switch. But the Stoics didn't need brain scans to figure this out. They practiced breath awareness as a form of embodied philosophy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have to assemble your life action by action. And if each attains its own end, as far as it can, you're living a good life." What better place to begin that process than with a single mindful breath? One of the most effective breathing techniques, both ancient in spirit and modern in validation, is the 4 to 7 8 method. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 7. Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. Do this 3 times. That's all. This simple rhythm downregulates the nervous system, signals safety to the brain, and slows down racing thoughts. It doesn't just soothe, it centers you. Use this technique whenever you feel yourself tipping toward anger, anxiety, or overwhelm, before an important conversation, in traffic, when reading a disrespectful message. These are moments where breath can become armor, because the Stoic doesn't wait for a calm environment. They bring calm with them. Another tool is the breath before response. Rule: before you say anything in a tense situation, take 1 conscious breath. It's a ritual of awareness, a silent reminder. I am not here to react. I am here to respond with intention. That single breath creates space. And in that space, you remember who you are and who you refuse to become. You can also incorporate breath into your daily Stoic reflection. At the start of the day, 3 deep breaths to ground yourself. At the end of the day, 3 more to let go. These acts are more than wellness tricks. They are sacred. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." And perhaps what you have to do first is breathe, fully, consciously, and with reverence for the power it holds. Breathing is the bridge between the body and the mind, between emotion and action, between chaos and clarity. And the best part? You don't need a teacher, you don't need equipment, you only need awareness. In a world of overcomplication and noise, the Stoic finds power in the simplest discipline, a breath, held with presence, released with grace. Let that breath carry you into calm, into strength, and into who you truly are beneath the noise. Number 10. Living in the present. If you want to train your mind to stay calm, you must anchor it where life actually happens, in the present moment. Yet this is exactly where most people don't live. Their minds are either trapped in the past, replaying conversations, regrets, betrayals, or rushing ahead into the future, worrying about what might happen, what could go wrong, or how others will judge them. The result? Constant inner noise, disconnection from reality, and a nervous system that's always in flight. But the Stoics knew that peace can only exist in now. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself again and again, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about your neighbors, unless with a view to some mutual benefit. Look within. Within is the fountain of good." That looking within, that attention to what is here and now, was not just a meditative exercise, it was a strategy for survival in chaos. To bring your mind back to the present, you must develop tools of return. The first is what we can call the mental anchor. This is a small, grounding phrase or sensation that snaps you out of spiraling thoughts and back into awareness. It might be something simple like saying to yourself, "I'm here, I'm safe," or feeling the texture of an object in your hand, or focusing on a single sound in your environment, a bird, the hum of the fan, your own breath. These sensory anchors remind you, the past is gone, the future isn't real yet, only now is real. Another technique is the 1-minute reset. At any point during your day, especially when overwhelmed, take 60 seconds to come back to your senses. Feel your body, breathe deeply. Observe your surroundings without judgment. Let your thoughts slow, not by force but by attention. The Stoics didn't aim to empty the mind, but to clear it of distortion. And nothing clears the mind faster than full presence. You can also use the Stoic method of voluntary hardship to train presence. Take cold showers. Walk in silence without your phone. Fast for a few hours beyond comfort. Not to punish yourself, but to practice being with what is. To learn that you are stronger than discomfort. That peace is not found in avoiding hard moments, but in meeting them without resistance. Living in the present doesn't mean you ignore the past or avoid planning for the future. It means you refuse to be owned by them. Epictetus said, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." And where is your will most powerful? Here, now, in this breath. In this action, train your mind to come back again and again to what's in front of you, to the moment you can influence. That's where calm is waiting. Not in the next achievement, not in a future apology, not in replaying how it could have gone differently, but in choosing to be here. Because once you master the present moment, you stop chasing calm. You become it. Calm isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. Through discipline, through awareness, through choice. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They lived in times of war, betrayal, exile, and death, and yet they found peace not by controlling the world, but by mastering themselves. Now it's your turn. You've just learned 10 powerful ways to train your mind to stay calm. 10 tools rooted in ancient wisdom and sharpened by modern practice. But knowledge means nothing without action. So start small. Take one of these techniques and apply it today. Practice the pause. Breathe before you speak. Rewrite the story your mind wants to tell. Anchor yourself in now, because every moment is a test. And your calm, not your anger, not your panic, is your answer. And if this resonated with you, if you're ready to stop being ruled by emotion and start ruling your inner world, make sure to subscribe. This is just the beginning. There's more Stoic firepower coming your way. Stay steady, stay sovereign, stay free.